use our microbit to make a conductivity tester. So basically, you'll attach the alligator clips to the microbit and you'll touch them to two sides of a different object, and it will tell you whether it's a conductor or an insulator. So let's get to it. You're going to start by going to New Project. I'm going to name this Conductivity and hit Create. So at this point, you always start off with two blocks. We're going to get rid of the on start and leave the forever. So we're going to put everything in forever. And we're going to do something new here. We're going to use a logic function. And this is one of the major building blocks to all programming. So we're going to get this if true, then else logic chain. All right, so what this basically means is it's always forever looking for this test to be true or not. And so it's going to say, if a thing is true, then do this. And if it's not true, it's going to do this. So the first thing we have to do is to set up what is our truth. So the microbit has these pins on it. And this is pin 0, 1, 2, and then you've got the ground as well. So we're going to hook one alligator clip to the 0, one to the ground. And when the two touch, or when the circuit is completed, then it will do something. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here to input, and you'll notice that one of the correct shape blocks is if pin 0 is pressed. In other words, if that circuit is completed. So we drop this right here, so that becomes our if statement. So if pin 0 is pressed, then do this. If it's not pressed, then do that. So essentially, if it is a conductor, do whatever we put in here. If it's not a conductor, do whatever we put in here. So at that point, we just have to decide what we want it to do. So if we go back into basic here, our show icon block is helpful because it has a check mark. So if it's a conductor, check mark. Then we'll get another one. If it's not a conductor, then we're going to do an X. And then to just do one more thing to give you an audio indication, we're going to go into music, and we're going to grab play a tone for 1 beat until done. Okay, and so we're going to drop that in right here. So now what should happen, and we can test it over here, so we can say if pin 0 is pressed, in other words, if the circuit's completed, it will make a check and it'll make the tone. And if you hold it down, in other words, if you continue to check, it will keep beeping. So at this point, we would hook up those alligator clips to our microbit, sort of like it's shown here, but without the stereo plug. And then we could hit download and push that to the microbit. And then I'll show you how that works when it gets installed on my microbit. Okay, I've got the program pushed down to the microbit. And we're going to see if this works. So I've also connected my alligator clips to pin 0 over here on the left and the ground on the right. So that means if these two ends touch each other, it will make a connection, and we get our check mark and our sound. And then when we take them apart, it stops. All right, so that works. So let's test something that we know is not a conductor. So let's test this toothpick. So I'm going to clamp it onto this, make contact. So it's completing the circuit, but there's no electrons flowing. So it is not a conductor, it is an insulator. All right, so now we can test with something we know is metal. It should be a conductor. So I'm going to hook one end of the alligator clip to the wrench, and then we'll touch it with the other end. And there we go, we've got a connection. So using this, we can now test all kinds of objects and see if they are conductors or insulators. You could even stick these in a little bit of water to see if that would work. And that's how we build our conductivity tester.